We are saving the best for last here, the Adult Umbral Dragon from the Impossible Land set from WizKids, and many thanks to them for sending it our way. Umbral Dragons in Pathfinder are classified as primal dragons, but while most of the primal dragons hail from one of the elemental planes, the Umbral Dragon, as its name may imply, comes from the Shadow Plane. They have an unquenchable thirst for undead flesh, so crafty adventurers can sometimes find a way to use them to their advantage, but invariably, once all the undead are gone, the Umbral Dragons still have to eat. Now, we don't have Umbral Dragons in D&D. You could use this for a black dragon, though besides its coloration, it doesn't really look like a black dragon. You could also use it for a shadow dragon, but we do have a pretty cool D&D shadow dragon coming up later this year that you can see right here. So I would use this for a deep dragon. We do not have many Deep Dragon minis, and this would fit the bill nicely. You can learn about Deep Dragons in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. So let's learn more about Umbral Dragons now, including how you can play as an Umbral Dragon in your own games. And of course, we are going to wrap up our chat with Paizo's Director of Brand Strategy, Mark Moreland, with some of your questions. So let's get started, shall we? Step out of the shadows, lest you fall victim to the Adult Umbral Dragon. Before we jump in, Series 2 of the animated cards from Hit Point Press is out now. We've talked about the animated condition cards to help your players track all the debilitating conditions you've doled out to them, and the animated townsfolk for them to befriend before you brutally murder them all to up the stakes in your game. But they also now have animated spell cards for the highest level spells in the game, as you can see here. These cards are absolutely gorgeous and make playing a caster so much more fun. They are always going to be spells that you don't have cards for though, which is why they provide spellcraft cards like this, with unique animations on one side and blank backs for you to write your own spell details on. Just put them in a card sleeve and use a wet erase marker to customize them yourself. You can pick up the animated cards using our link below the video or by visiting animatedspells.com. Primal dragons typically hail from the various elemental planes. The brine, cloud, crystal, and magma dragons are native to their respective planes, but they do show up in the material plane in areas that resemble their homes. The cruel and malicious umbral dragons come from the shadow plane and are known to strike from the shadows and play with their food before finishing it off. Like the other primal dragons, many of them can cast primal spells. Umbral dragons have been known to cast darkness, shadow walk, vampiric exsanguination, dominate, true seeing, and black tentacles, among other spells. They do, for whatever reason, enjoy the taste of undead flesh most of all, but with their unquenchable appetites, they will eat anything they can get their claws on. In dire circumstances of great starvation, they've even been known to go to an olive garden. Like all dragons, they have a special breath weapon, a favorite type of loot, and a preferred lair location. The Adult Umbral Dragon actually has two breath weapons. They can blast out a wave of darkness that does negative damage to living foes and a greater amount of force damage to the undead. Or they can breathe out a cone of shadows that can enfeeble and blind enemies. They are particularly adept at dealing with the undead, even ghosts and incorporeal creatures, as their strikes are imbued with the power of a ghost touch property rune. For their loot hoards, they favor treasure stolen from ancient crypts, including items that hold great sentimental value, heirlooms that have been passed down through multiple generations, and they'll often turn those crypts into hunting grounds and lairs. An adult Umbral Dragon is huge in size and a level 15 creature. Ancient Umbral Dragons are level 20 and gargantuan in size. Here you can see the Umbral Dragon next to our other Impossible Lands minis, including those from the Impossible Foes set and the Mukrati, which we reviewed in the eye in the corner of your screen up there. I also wanted to compare him to similar looking dragons like the Adult Black Dragon from Icons of the Realms, the old Bahamut mini, and a few others. As you can see, he's not quite as large as the new D&D Adult Dragon minis, which are upsized from their stat blocks and come on gargantuan sized bases. And if you do want to play as an Umbral Dragon, check out the Battle Zoo Ancestries book by our good buddies over at Roll for Combat. The book was written by Mark Seifter, a former designer at Paizo. We interviewed Mark about the project in a video that you can watch in the eye in the corner of your screen right now. As we continue to take a look at our Adult Umbral Dragon here, allow me to welcome back Paizo's Director of Brand Strategy to tell us more about it and to answer some of your questions. Here's Mr. Mark Moreland. All right, Mark, now is time for the big boy, your Adult Umbral Dragon. Tell us a little bit about this guy.
So this was actually a late addition to the set. When this was a randomized booster box based set, the premium figure was going to be the Mukrati, which was going to be our standalone figure. I know that in the past we've done some premium figures that where we had two, but this was just going to be a single figure. And when everything switched from being booster based to being, visible packaging, WizKids said, well, we could do another figure. Is there something else you want to do? And it's always a no-brainer to include a dragon. So we have a number of types of true dragons that are not represented in other brands, and so we definitely wanted to use this as an opportunity to put one of those into plastic to get it out there. And what better than an umbral dragon to really show off what a primal dragon can truly do. So here we've got that, and I love the posing on it. They just knocked it out of the park with this one. I couldn't be happier.
When we're thinking about ways that we can use our Adult Umbral Dragon, which is from the Shadow Realm or influenced by the Shadow Realm, I haven't had time to go through the whole Blood Lords campaign, so I didn't know if an Umbral Dragon might make an appearance there. I believe one might be showing up in Crimson Throne, Curse of the Crimson Throne. I was wondering if you knew...
Yes, there definitely is one in Crimson Throne in Book 5, because you go to... it's all about that issue is all about Zon-Kuthon, and who better knows Zon-Kuthon than the dragons that are made of shadow. So they're useful for Crimson Throne. I know that they've appeared a number of times in a number of APs. I'm not familiar enough with Bloodlords myself to know whether one shows up, but I'm sure that in the comments, GMs who are prepping to run that can let folks know if it's useful or not. There's a dragon in almost every AP that we run, so if you're okay with either repainting it or just saying, I know it looks black, but pretend it's purple, then it's always useful in that respect as well.
Oh, that's all. Half of being a game master is just finding the best ways to reuse figures. It's like, just imagine it being a slightly different shade of green or something.
Yeah, over the years, I have used so many different toys and models and all sorts of stuff that's like, if you're at the table and you need a mini and you don't have a mini, like, hey, give me one of your tater tots. Like, that's your mini, like whatever you have to use. You're not just improvising your dialogue in a game. You're improvising the tools that you use to play it too. So we're happy to provide people more specific tools to improvise with. But at the end of the day, if you get this and your players end up picking door B instead of in door A with the Umbral Dragon behind it, then the mini gets to be what it needs to be.
Or in my games, the Umbral Dragon will just phase through the wall and enter room B, and they're still going to have to face it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
If I spend the money to get the mini, they're going to meet the mini at some point or another.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, if you got into the trouble to craft that adventure for them, it would be rude for them not to follow the rails, at least a little bit.
I think so. Or at least, push something onto the rails, even if the rails shift a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I actually solicited some questions for you, Mark, if you have some time from our audience and some of the folks over at Minis Gallery. My little handy-dandy sheet here, and you may have already answered some of these. The first question is from, some of these are from Minis Gallery, and there's a fellow in there, or I don't know if it's a fellow, who knows, named Imbalance, and they want to know, what is your favorite mini of all time?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know, it's like picking your favorite child. I only have one actual child, so that's an easy thing for me to do in real life. But when I have to pick my minis from the hundreds of minis that I've had a hand in, it's harder. It's probably the Drowning Devil from the Skull and Shackles set, because the Drowning Devil was the first monster that I conceived of, designed, wrote, and saw published. I had written other monsters to spec before, but the Drowning Devil was the first one that I was able to pitch to. At the time, I think it was Wes Schneider, who was running the back matter for the APs, and I was writing a bunch of monsters for the back of the Skull and Shackles adventure path. And he was like, "Do you have any other ideas of monsters we could do?" And I was like, "How about a devil that summons water into your lungs?" And he was like, "Oh, you mean that makes you drown?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you can't hold your breath because he just goes, and there's water in your lungs. Have fun." And Wes liked that. And so whenever I've seen the Drowning Devil, the art for it ended up being super cool as well. Really colorful with these like lionfish wings and sea anemones for hands. It's just, you never really forget your first design that you do. So for me, seeing that in plastic and being able to have that on my desk is a constant reminder of where I got my start, where I sort of, how far I've come. It's been all downhill from there. No,
that's an awesome choice. I love that.
That's probably my favorite mini.
Awesome. Let's see what the next question is for you here. Somebody wants to know. I think it's actually. This is somebody. Matt Nuke wants to know: can we hope beyond hope for some sun, moon, or taiga giants in a future set?
Giants are one of those things that we would love to be able to get the entire set of giants out eventually, but most sets have so few rare and especially huge slots or gargantuan slots, and I'm not sure what the size of those specific giants are. If they're gargantuan, like the rune giant, then chances are very low that we'll see those, unless they're in a premium slot, a premium figure like this Adult Umbral Dragon, just because they're so big that we can't really do them in a randomized set. But those are on the list of like the checklist of, okay, we want to make sure we get one of every giant, we want to make sure we get one of every devil and one of every demon, and so they're on the list, and I would love for the opportunity to get them out there. They just have to fit. They have to have a spot in the set, and that isn't always the case.
Do you have a list of general creatures, like an actual list of things that haven't seen minis represented yet? Maybe like just like bestiary one, creatures that you want to try to fit in? You do,
Yeah. We're always looking to try and fill. We know that the creatures that appear in our bestiaries are likely to show up at more tables than those that show up in the back matter of adventure paths, simply because they're in our core books. I haven't updated it in a while, but Eric, when he was running these, when he was designing the sets before I stepped into the role, he had a list that included all figures that have ever appeared in pre-painted plastic. So his went all the way back to the Wizards manufactured D&D minis from when they had their own skirmish game for them. And he was like, "Oh, well, that was in the War Drum set in 2004." And I'm like, "Eric, I think we can probably reprint that. One, it's a different company's mini, and two, that was 20 years ago." So
I think we actually have some War Drums minis in the closet that when I get a lull from WizKids and the other companies, we're going to try to bring those sets out and show them off. So we do have some of those in there.
Yeah, no, also, I mean, they're a blast from the past. Yeah. I was cleaning out my storage unit, and I have a giant tub of minis. I mean, all different brands. But I was like, what's in this tub? Is this Pathfinder minis? Is this D&D minis? And, there's like a Tiamat in there and a bunch of beholders. And I was like, these are not going to really see play at my Pathfinder game, but they sure are cool minis. Those are
That's
fun.
Fair. Matt Nick also wanted to know if we can expect any more unpainted Pathfinder releases in the near future. I guess it's been a little bit of time.
Yeah, I don't know about near future. It's hard to really pin down what the supply chain is going to be. Even things we think are going to come out in the near future end up getting stuck in customs for far longer than we would like, and such. So we have more in the works. I actually just this week approved a new set list for another batch of unpainted, and it includes both unpainted Pathfinder and unpainted Starfinder figures. So there's more on the way, but when those actually come out, I don't even know what the target date for them was. It hit my email. I said, that looks good. You're good to go. So keep an eye out.
How about pre-painted Starfinder Battles minis? It's been a little while for those too.
We have another set it's been fully approved. It's waiting for WizKids to pull the manufacturing trigger on it. I think it was delayed due to pandemic-related stuff, and as with this set, sort of the economics of their business model changed, and it was a smaller set than these and wouldn't have been as easy necessarily to port into this new format. So if folks are still excited about Starfinder Battles, we want to let you know there will be more on the way, but I don't know what the timeline for that is. We would love to see them sooner rather than later, but that's ultimately WizKids' call, and we're not going to tell them how to do their jobs. They do it very well, so we'll let them tell us when they're ready to put them out. But there's some cool stuff in that set, so I hope it's soon.
Is that more of a general booster, random booster set designed that way for now?
Yeah, which is another reason that it sort of got put on hold as they moved their sets to this current configuration, which, this decision was made back in 2021. Yeah. Way back when I was in college. It's just the lead time on these is so long that when something gets pulled off the schedule to make room for something else, or because of whatever reason, sometimes it can be a long time before we can find a slot to put it back in. So everyone's patience is appreciated, but we also appreciate the enthusiasm, and be sure to let WizKids know that you still want to see them, even if it's been a while.
I know I want to see them. Do you have a sense of kind of just where we are in as far as the shipping, manufacturing, COVID-19 recovery? Like, do you have a sense of that right now?
I'm not close enough to it to really be able to say. I know that that Paizo specifically, like our European shipper of our Kingmaker products to our crowdfunding backers, those are still held up in customs. They've been in customs for months. It's a constant frustration for us. So it's not just in the U.S. that these logistical issues are coming up, and for someone like us, where we're shipping, we can ship a whole case of books. It's a case, whereas minis are they just have such a bigger footprint that to get the same quantity of, us to ship 10,000 books costs a certain amount. For WizKids to ship 10,000 units of a mini or a mini set is so astronomically higher that just due to the size of the product, it's a different scale that they're dealing with than what I have insight into seeing it on the Paizo side. So I think there's still a lot of delays that we're not dug out of, and it's not all just shipping and customs. Some of it is manufacturing as well. I mean, yeah,
China's still going in and out of lockdowns. Yeah, it's we're trying to get these guys
exactly, and yeah. So I think that it's just it's sort of the new normal, and we're just sort of going into every product expecting that there may be delays that are completely out of our control to deal with, and we'll do our best. But there's only so many contingencies you can have for customs. You can't go and tell the customs agent to do it differently. If you do, you're likely to get an even longer delay. So it's sort of the new normal now, and people are dealing with it in all sorts of, like there's baby formula shortages, and when it comes between baby formula and minis, as much as I like minis and they help pay my rent, they're not as important. So it's a huge juggling act that I do not have the experience, intelligence, or enough hands to be able to coordinate. So I leave it to other people.
Well, hopefully we're on the slope down from this crisis is kind of all we can hope for right now. Here's a very specific question for you. This is from English Wizard. He said that there was a set of minis that was intended to be promos, I guess, for Paizo, including a Watch Cadet, a Leaf Leshy, a Dwarf Sharpshooter, and a Harpy, and a couple of others. And he wanted to know if they might still be on the plan to release at some point.
Yeah, I mean, those were all made. This is another casualty of the pandemic, was that we used to order 4 to 6 additional figures that were all repaints with every set. And then when in-person conventions got put on hold, we developed quite a backlog of those, and so we stopped ordering them for like for this set, and I think even the previous set, we didn't ask WizKids to make us promo figures, because we have so many that are backlogged. So we've got a list of the ones that we've got. We've still got them. We'll work through them eventually, whether that's at Gen Cons or PAX Unplugged or wherever. It's just that our official presence at shows is so diminished from what it was 3 years ago, both in terms of shows we run as well as shows that we just have an official presence at, that I don't know. We'll get them out someday. I mean, otherwise they just sit in the warehouse, and that's no fun for anyone. But we have to find the right opportunity, and we don't want to go through them too quickly, because if we do, we don't have others in the hopper to fill the spot. We're waiting until we get through them before we start making more. It just didn't make sense for us to continue manufacturing them when we had no way to even get through the ones we already had. So yet another thing that's in flux, but I would love for us to get back to business as previous for that particular thing, because some of those promos ended up being pretty cool.
I did have a surprise in a package I got from WizKids yesterday, which included that Bloodlords book and included the Abomination Vaults cards and a few other things. Is there was a promo mini inside, which we used to get minis for the Pathfinder Adventure card game as like little promos included with some of the subscription orders. But this one had a little 2019 mini. It was a Were Leopard. I think it was a Were Leopard mini, and I don't know if that is something that's going out to subscribers at this point, or if it just happened to be in my box.
It might be. Yeah, I mean that's not really my call. That's all on the warehouse team. They're always in the process of trying to move product that's been sitting on the shelf for a long time, and I imagine it's a big headache for them to look at boxes and boxes of promo minis and go, come on, guys, what are we doing with these? So they may have gotten the go-ahead to start shipping those out. So subscribers should be on the lookout for them, and I'll see if we can't find out what they are. I don't know if they're supposed to be a surprise, in which case, surprise! And if they're not supposed. Yeah, if it's not supposed to be a secret, then I'll talk to our social media folks and see if we can't get a little bit better messaging about what people can expect. But
it's a nice surprise.
Yet one of the many benefits of being a Pathfinder subscriber from Paizo.com is occasionally we give you free stuff.
Almost every box there's some little surprise, if it's not a card or a little mini or something.
Oh, we've got a whole warehouse full of stuff that we just got to get rid of. So you never know.
That's awesome. And I think today with our video here, Mark, you have now leapfrogged over Ron Lundeen in the most appearances on the Gallant Goblin from anybody but me and Grady. So congratulations.
Well, hey, it is an honor. And unfortunately, Ron no longer works at Paizo, so it's going to be harder for me to rub it in. but we still chat, and so I will shoot him a text and say neener, neener, neener.
There you go. Give him our best when you do talk to him over in his new role. And I guess we probably won't be seeing you again for a little while, since PaizoCon's going to be entirely online in 2023. But hopefully if you come out to Gen Con or one of the other cons, we'll see you there.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the world will be like in 9 months. But yeah, the plan is currently to go to Gen Con and to be there. Our next set, if all goes well, will be out at or by Gen Con. So we'll certainly have stuff to discuss in the lead up to that. Yeah, I'm always happy to come on. Love your show and love what you guys do for the community, and we really appreciate you giving folks a deep dive into all the Pathfinder products, not just the minis. So thank you for all that from all of us here at Paizo, and we're always happy to come on and help you guys make the content that the fans want to see.
Well, thank you for taking all the time that you spent with us to make all these videos, and well, yeah, we'll definitely get you back for that next mini set. I know I'm excited. I still have to go back and look at Bestiary Unleashed, which I'm also super excited to go into. I'm still catching up, so I've got some more stuff to look forward to too.
Yeah, I'll remind Eric that did Eric tell you that he would do it? He's already committed?
He committed in my mind when we saw him at Gen Con, so...
that always
I didn't
works.
get a devil's...
Whenever I went a little bit of Eric's time, I just tell him, you told me you would talk to me. And he says, I'm in so many meetings. I said, well, you told me I was one of them, Eric, and so he'll make time.
I think getting him to talk about minis probably won't be too hard.
You heard it here first. Eric Rona will be on the show.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, no.
Well, thank you, Mark. I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Again, thank you to Mark for taking the time to talk to us today. He is now up 6-2 on Ron Lundeen for most appearances at the Gallant Goblin, and we actually have an unreleased interview with Mark from PaizoCon last year that I hope to get edited and out to you as soon as I can, so he'll be up 7-2 then. It's gonna be a hard record to beat. Impossible Lands Adult Umbral Dragon is available now for between $70 and $80. Let me know what you think about it in the comments section down below. I do have a question for you though. Impossible Lands was essentially a full booster release broken into 6 parts. One thing I was considering doing is editing together all of my turntable footage and the mini descriptions for all these figures into one of our regular full set review videos for folks who just enjoy watching those while painting minis and doing whatever folks do when they watch the Gallant Goblin. So let me know if there's something that you think is worth my time. There probably won't be any new footage, but you'll have all the minis there in one place. The next Pathfinder battle set is Fists of the Ruby Phoenix, which will also be released in box sets like this, 5 of them to be exact. Fist of the Ruby Phoenix is one of their most popular APs and one of the few high-level ones that they have. It goes from 11th to 20th level. We'll chat more about it when we review the minis. A collected hardcover version of the AP is coming out this month, January 2023, but the minis aren't scheduled until July 2023. So be sure you're subscribed to see all that. Also, don't forget to check out the animated spell cards from our friends at Hit Point Press using our links below the video. Using our links helps us stay on the air. You can also pick yourself up a cute kobold plushie by visiting koboldplush.com. They should be shipping out to homes later this month. And you can join the conversation on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Mastodon. For now, stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I will see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.